the Media Foundation for West Africa is saying that indeed the politicians have failed us, but the call is now on the media, journalists in particular, to not fail us, to hold these politicians accountable and to serve the better interest of the people. Now, Kwabena Bonfe, do you think the media has played such a huge role in this particular regard?
First and foremost, let me deal with that erroneous impression created out there. Who is a politician? And who is the media? Sometimes some of these lamp conclusions create a distortion, okay, and shouts the core issues on display into a difficulty that we are rather, caught up running around the problem instead of seeking solutions to it. What is it? Who is a politician? It's taking one politician to expose another politician. So how can you then conclude that politicians have failed us? Just as we have got bad politicians, we have bad journalists, we have bad people in the media. Just as we have bad pastors, bad religious leaders, we also have good ones. So it is a societal problem. If we go deep into these issues of corruption, and I like an aspect Jerry John Rawlings, problematic as he may be, and sometimes if you read his statements, you ask yourself whether he's working by his own words. His 21st December message to this group that ought not to be mentioned, 31st December, okay? A reminder of shame. The day that the constitution of this country, okay, the Third Republican Constitution, was overthrown and visited a lot of mayhem on us. But in that message, he said something that is quite instructive. That yes, corruption is a menace, perceived, and in some realities or some instances, glaringly so and convincing. So yes, there's perceived corruption, and there's also reality. And there are instances that we see. How are we dealing with them? For example, in this JIDA matter, this JIDA SADA matter. Look, and that's why, perhaps, my aspect of it, is government even dealing with that problem the way it ought to deal with? There are rules and regulations governing how laws are contracted in this country. Were they followed? Procurement issues, were they followed? So if people don't follow the rules and regulations and engage in activities, and you have uncovered it, do you go and sit down and negotiate with the people to return your money with some interest worked out between the two of you?
Complicity.
No. The law must take its course. Some people ought to be prosecuted for shortchanging the state. Because we country, we government is a Father Christmas and gives out loan. I have never heard it. That the government is granting, giving out loans to private companies to undertake jobs given to them by the government. Then why doesn't the government undertake the project itself?
Anyway, so now
but back to the core issue between the media. Look, my brother, it would be unfair inviting us to do a compare between media and politicians.
It's actually a call by the Media Foundation for West Africa. They are suggesting
that comparison.
I see.
I have good respect for my good friend Suleiman Brahma, but I think that he should be calling for a joint effort from the Ghanaian, in general, wherever you find yourself, be it within civil service, public service, the people we call politicians, i.e. those heading and leading political parties, from within their political parties to the national stage, people in the media, you should stop taking the solace when you go on assignments. Is he advocating for that? It's almost as if you call for a press conference today and you don't give solace, your story will not get published. And this cuts across. Okay? I'm not bashing me, I'm involved.
Indeed. So you're saying the media is as corrupt as the politicians?
I am not saying that. Please don't put words in my mouth. So I've said that. I'm saying the fight against corruption behoves on all of us. And we must not create the impression as if it is a politician who is engaging in corruption and it will take the media to help curb it. I'm saying that is wrong. If you appreciate the problem wrongly, you will undertake a wrong measure and you will not be able to resolve it. What I'm saying is that corruption permeates our society across
board.
Across board. And it will take all of us collectively with concerted effort to be able, to fight it. And I've said that number one is to appreciate what is corruption. Two is to expose it to the natural medicines of sunlight and wind.
Like what the government
exposure. Then three, and most critical, punish corrupt people.
Something you claim the government has failed to do.
Has failed woefully to do. And you see, once we are able to do that, we need to again begin to educate our people to focus on values that build society than on materials. For example, the shirt I'm wearing or that which my brother is wearing, or his beautiful spectacles, or maybe the shoe we are wearing, or the cars we drove here. Those are not the things that make us. We should put our values on love for one another, love for humanity. We should show that we love our country. We should show that we have some feeling towards the underprivileged. We should be a voice for the masses. Those are values that have lasting impact or effects than, if you like, somebody put up a mansion. Okay, let me not say a mansion, but a tall, big story building, not far from Achimota, housing the Malcolm shop. Isn't it true? Is that not true? One day, what happened?
It came crumbling.
But a good character, a good name, is something that lasts forever. And like in Othello, Shakespeare's one of his tales, that he said, he who steals my purse steals trash, but he who filches of me my good name robs me of that which enriches me and makes me poor indeed.
I see. So
that should be our focus.
Amaguchi, let me come to you now. James Kobna Bonfe is telling us today, and indeed it's something many people are also saying, that it doesn't take one person to be corrupt. Virtually everyone in the country is one way or the other corrupt. So it needs to take a different approach than what we are seeing now. Is that something you agree with? And what would be your suggestion of the right approach to eliminating corruption?
Well, I think that the call to sort of engage the media and then sort of instigate or sort of activate a certain level of higher moral and higher moral standards and principle is a good one. Now, like my good friend Kobna Bonfe said, I don't think that politicians necessarily generally
are you saying that because you're a politician?
No, that's not the point. The point is that we need to sort of situate some of these things in its right context. And there's something that, over the period, in the last few years, has become the norm, that anytime there's an issue in respect to a particular subject, everybody is lumped together. Now, unfortunately for us, if you're not careful, this particular agenda would always be set by the government in power. And I think that as a people, and even especially the media, we need to be able to move away from that. When there's an issue of probably mismanagement, corruption, a lack of vision, or complicity coming from government or a public organization, the tendency now is that we lump everybody together. Now, the mantra on the street now is Obiabasa, the local parlance, which means that, all politicians are the same, all journalists are the same. What it does is that we are sort of anchoring ourselves in mediocrity.
Absolutely.
And for me, I would not sort of sit or allow such discourse to happen. And everywhere I've gone, on every platform that I've had an opportunity to go on, I make sure that we are dealing with the issues at stake. You understand? Because there's absolutely no way you can have a government in power for a period of 6 years. And then you keep referring to a government that left power 6 years ago and try to compare. Because in any case, society is dynamic. Things change. We have access to new information, we have technology, we have experience, and you cannot continue with business as usual and make it like it's the norm. Anyway, coming back to the issue of the media, I think it's imperative that we all appreciate the importance of the media to our current democratic dispensation, right? And talking about the media, sometimes it's you always have to put some of these things in context. There's a political party that came into power under President Kufuor that decided to expunge a very, very serious act in our laws, the criminal libel law, from our statute books, just because we wanted to give the media and journalists, or even the good people of this country at large, the freedom, right, to be able to express their opinions and then ask questions, telling questions, and demand a certain level of perfection from politicians. So whilst we are talking about politicians and the need to, sort of have a certain level of principle, value in the way we deal with society, and then how we are sort of moving away from corrupting ourselves, it's important to give the honor where it's due and then tackle the issues as it's supposed to. Now, if you move away from that, otherwise what happens is that you neutralize the problems and the issues all the time. So in my estimation, if there are specific issues that we are talking about in terms of corruption, let's deal with it. Let's deal with the merits of it. Let's deal with the genesis of it. And then hold, like Kobna said, hold the people responsible accountable and punish corrupt practices.
So to a large extent, yeah. I think that would be a very great call, except for the fact that the same politicians are the ones who always, so assuming there's a problem with a member of, say, the NDC, the NPP will use that as a campaign, whatever. No, they will keep on. You wouldn't isolate the person and urge people to deal with that person.
That is fair.
Context.
That is fair game. Now,
so it's a crossboard. So then, obviously,
we all have different styles. I, for instance, I'm not interested in name calling. I'm not interested in sort of shouting over the top of my voice just to get myself heard. Now, so I'll deal with the issues based on on the merits of it. But in any case, if there is some kind of complicity from a political individual or a government, then it's fair game for you to talk about it. But my point on this issue is that you cannot go and then lump everybody together.
Okay, all right. Points will note.
Right, and one example, and then this is from the current president, President John Mahama, when I think sometime in 2008, when those right in the heat of the political campaign season, whereby the NPP and NDC were comparing projects and achievements and everything. And the president came out to state categorically that that is an exercise in mediocrity.
That was during his nomination as a running mate to His Excellency.
Exactly.
His acceptance speech.
That is an exercise in mediocrity.
It was an exercise that
you understand? Now, so what it is that we have to hold people accountable for the things that they say, their actions and inactions. I mean omissions and commissions. Now, just suppose that 6 years down the line, we find the same president complaining about individuals that have gone out there to express sentiments that the average Ghanaian, the ordinary folks on the streets, are feeling. Lack of power, high tariffs in terms of our utilities, bad roads, huge corruption. And then the president now comes out and states that that is an exercise, somebody is actually suffering or is afflicted.
Well, the president didn't actually say that. It wasn't the president who said that. So
afflicted
but
with...
It wasn't the president who said that.
The president may mention to selective myopia as an incurable disease. Now, my point is that this is the kind of things that we should be holding individuals accountable for. Things that they say. For instance, Honorable Haruna
hypocritical?
saying, yes, that's exactly. No, so the same sort of values or same sort of high standards should be demanded from the president. So if you have someone like Haruna Idris Honorable stating somewhere in 2007, 2008 in Parliament, and the Hansard will tell you that for a new NDC government, something like Dumso will be a thing of the past.
Indeed. And the president is promising that
and then
it will be a
president,
thing of the past this year.
I'm hoping we'll come to that. The president at the point in 2014 promised not to promise again. And even that he has broken that promise.
Well, he prophesied.
Because he keeps
he didn't
promising.
promise. He prophesied this time round. Anyway, so